Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to Soulful Sessions with Rory, the podcast where we dive deep into the matters of the heart, mind, and spirit. I'm your host, Rory, and I'm thrilled to embark on this soulful journey with each and every one of you. Soulful Sessions is your safe space for introspection, inspiration, and maybe even a little revelation. Whether you're sipping your morning coffee, winding down after a long day, or just seeking a moment of connection, you're in the right place. Before we dive into today's soulful exploration, I want to remind you that Soulful Sessions with Rory is designed for entertainment purposes only. While we may touch on profound topics and meaningful discussions, it's important to approach our conversations with an open heart and a sense of curiosity. Life is a journey, and so is this podcast. We'll navigate the realms of self-discovery, spirituality, and personal growth. But remember, the insights we share here are not a substitute for professional advice or guidance. Always consult with the appropriate professionals regarding your unique circumstances. So, whether you're a seasoned seeker or just dipping your toes into the waters of self-exploration, get ready for a blend of wisdom, laughter, and a touch of magic in each episode of Soulful Sessions with Rory. Don't forget, hit that subscribe button so you never miss a soulful moment. Follow me on social media. On IG, it's Soulful Explorer. On Facebook, it's Listening Veteran Life Coach. And Snapchat, Rory Soulful Explorer, to stay connected, share your thoughts, and be a part of this incredible community. Now, let's the journey begin. Sit back, relax, and let's fill our souls together. Today's soulful episode is helping people while hurting yourself. That's right, helping people while hurting yourself. So this particular topic, is something that I've discussed with people for years, just different people, even clients, whatever you may have. So first let's define, what does it mean to help people while hurting yourself? I'll give you some generic examples. Like one of the examples that comes to mind when I say that is financially. So let's say you have a relative who says, hey, let me borrow $20. Let me borrow $1. And whatever it is, you loan it to them. What you did not tell them is that if you loan them this money, you have only so many days to pay a bill. And that money is very important that you get back so you can pay that bill. Now, I was always told that you should not loan money that you can't afford to lose. And so, that has stuck with me, but that hasn't stopped me from allowing myself to hurt myself by helping other people, even financially. So that's just one instance. Another instance could be time. A person says, hey, look, I have an event or I have a situation and I really need your help. And without hesitation, you say, you know what? I got you. You're my friend. I love you. And I want to be there to support you. Well, what you didn't tell them is that you've been working diligently for the last 3 weeks. You're exhausted. You don't have the energy to help them. And in doing so, not only are you risking your life, because driving to and fro to an area when you're exhausted mentally, physically, spiritually can cause you to get into an accident. But there's also your health. And if there's an issue with your health, all of these things matter. So I don't take that for granted. That's another example. And then it's what's another example of helping others while hurting yourself? I see people feed the homeless all the time. I watch somebody give the homeless their last bit of money. Now, I'm not saying don't do generous, kind things like that. What I am saying, though, is that you do have to pay attention to not if you do them, but how often you do them. How frequently are you putting yourself in harm's way? Now, those are just some examples, but now let's talk about in what areas. So one of the things that comes to mind is romantic relationships. That's the number one thing. So the sacrifices we make for our significant other or trying to win the affections of a person can sometimes put us in harm's way. I'll give you an example. As a man, in a lot of situations, we're supposed to pay for the meal. We're supposed to wine and dine the woman. We're supposed to let her know that I can be a provider. I can be a caretaker. I remember as a younger man, I was broke. I don't care what anybody say. I was broke. But I would not let that stop me from I would let my pride stop me from saying, hey, look, I don't have it. Let's go eat. Let's go to whatever restaurant. Let's eat it. I got a credit card, or I got it on my debit card, which is coming directly from your bank. So I'm calculating, well, okay, if I shift this money around here and I'll do that, well, I can take out to eat at least twice. Putting myself in harm's way for a meal and a possibility of not even being with this person. There wasn't even happiness in me to do it. But at the time, feeling obligated that's my role. So in a romantic situation, and even with women, when you're dating a man or when you're in a relationship with a man and he tells you, well, I want you cooking. And you're cooking because, it's what he desired, but you're tired. You done worked all day, took care of your kids if you got them, or just the demands of life itself, and you're physically exhausted and drained. But you're doing this because you were asked to do it. You just finished helping a friend do something. I mean, you're tired. And so, unfortunately, you can hurt yourself just trying to help this man feel good. Now, don't get me wrong. We're not talking about sacrificing for relationships. I get that. And yes, I believe in that. However, what I'm also saying is that sometimes there's so much that we're doing, putting ourselves in harm's way. Staying in the realm of relationships, though, let's talk about a romantic relationship that doesn't exist, that you're putting yourself in harm's way. What does that mean, Rory? Well, let me explain. You're not dating this person, but you're seeing this person. Do I have to spell it out for you? Okay, you're having sex with this person, but it's not your man, it's not your woman, and you find yourself putting yourself in a situation for them. You're conforming to sexual gratification so that they can feel good. And I'm not saying that it's bad, because in sex, two people are exchanging something. But it also could be that you are allowing this person to share your space, your time, your energy. And the only thing you get in return, are you really getting anything in return? And how does that hurt somebody, Rory? Well, it hurts them physically, mentally, spiritually, because at some point you may feel empty. You may feel lost. You may feel used. You may feel unworthy. So it can hurt. And so the next thing are friendships. Oh man, friendships are tricky. If you find yourself doing more and more for your friends, and when you need something, they're not around, it's very possible that you're helping people while hurting yourself. Because a friend will sit there and let you do everything for them, and they'll ask you, girl, come help me do this. Girl, come help me do that. Do you have $20 till next payday? I have this problem I want to talk to you on the phone about for 3-4 hours. I don't want to listen to your problems, but I want to tell you about mine. Well, how does that hurt you? You still are unheard. You still don't have anybody worrying about your problems, your issues. So you're sacrificing your time, energy, and attention, your tea, for your friend who literally gives you nothing in return. Now, I'm not saying don't be a giver. What I'm saying is just recognize those things that do hurt you. So, friends can be those people. And you have to be aware of how is it hurting you. Does it hurt to realize they don't do anything for you? Or does it just hurt because you're constantly going out of your way to help somebody and you just don't want to? Now, the other one is work relationships. I like this one. When I left the workforce, I remember, let me go back. When I left the military, I remember feeling like a failure because I was letting down the team. Yeah, you heard me right. I was letting down the team. Being in the service for so long, I convinced myself that to retire was to give up. So I would have rather stayed in the service where my heart was no longer there. I could not do the job that I used to do, and that I just was not the same person. So ultimately, had I stayed in the military, I would have been hurting myself mentally, spiritually, physically. But I didn't want to let the team down. I didn't want to come off as a failure. I didn't want to do all these things that were so unrealistic and so untrue. So when you have a supervisor that says, hey, I need you to do something that's not your job. I need you to do it right now. I need you to do something that could affect the company and is probably immoral or illegal. I need you to do something that, only you could do for me. And it's personal. And you say yes, knowing that what they're asking you to do can hurt you physically, mentally, spiritually, or in some fashion. Or you're showing up to work on time every day and you're leaving 2 hours later because they say, oh, we're behind. No, we can't pay you for those 2 hours, but we need you to do it. You're a team player. You're hurting yourself while helping others. Your coworker says, hey, I need you to cover down for this, this, and this. I got to do this. And it's consistent. It's constantly. Again, you're helping others while hurting yourself. You get your family member a job. You know that their work ethic isn't like yours, but you let them use your name. Helping others while hurting yourself. Now, those are just 3 areas, romantic relationships, friendships, work relationships. But this next one, I believe, is riddled in emotional guilt. I think this next one is a part of your childhood or some kind of trauma you may or may not have experienced. I think this next one is you trying to feel good about yourself, maybe. Helping strangers while hurting yourself. That goes back to sharing food. If it's you and a stranger and you have a sandwich and you split it in half and you give it to the stranger, are you hurting yourself? Now, for me, no, I don't think so. But if you gave the stranger your whole sandwich, then you're possibly hurting yourself. But also, what about giving to charity? What about helping these organizations? Well, I only say that's an issue if you're doing that and you still can't pay your rent. You still can't buy food. You still can't get the necessities that you need. Now, if you're a person of faith, of any kind of faith, you can believe that is your ticket out of that. Now, I don't disagree with that. But all I'm saying is that we have to be aware of helping others and how it can hurt us, whether we realize it or not. So romantic relationships, friendships, and work relationships, as well as strangers, are the different ways that we can help people while hurting ourselves. But how do we stop? How do we stop helping people in lieu of helping ourselves? First and foremost, you have to let go of the guilt. The guilt that says, if I don't do this, I'm a bad person. The guilt that says, if I don't do this, I'm not a good friend. I'm not a good romantic partner. I'm not, a good employee. And you have to remember that a lot of people are going to play on your generosity, your kindness. The number one way, in my opinion, to stop this is to put yourself first. I'm not saying be selfish. Notice what I said. I said put yourself first. So if you're putting yourself first, then that means that everything and everybody else will come second. So if you put yourself first, then you'll consider, man, I just really worked a 12-hour shift. I can't go help my friend move, who's not going to pay me, or, if I got to take time off because I'm just exhausted the next day, or my spouse wants me to cook dinner when she gets home. or before she gets home, but I just worked 16 hours. I'm tired. I don't have the energy, you know, excuse me. Or, you know, friends who say, I need your help. Nobody else can help you. I'll give you an example. So I've had friends call me and say, Rory, you know, let me talk to you about this problem. And I have to tell them, I'm not your therapist. Well, I know, I just need you to listen. I'm not your therapist. So they say the problem, and then I don't give them any advice. And it's like, well, what do you think? I think you got a problem. And if you have a problem, you need to go see somebody. I'm not your therapist. Boundaries are so important. In this situation, you have to create boundaries. In order to prevent yourself from being hurt on a consistent basis, you have to create boundaries. The boundaries aren't just for people to stop them from getting in. The boundaries are created to keep you from going out. Because, see, people that you help, they're not the problem. Not at all. You are. Because you're the one that keeps saying yes. You're the one that has no regard for your mental, physical, spiritual well-being, your emotions. You have convinced yourself that you have to do whatever it is in that moment at that time. And so the real issue is you. And it starts with you saying, I am putting me first in all things. I am putting me first. I'm going to acknowledge my friend, my partner, my coworker, and let them know, unfortunately, I cannot assist you. I am putting me first. And right now, I'm tired. I'm exhausted. And I don't want to do what you're asking me to do. But check with me later. I might change my mind. And if you don't change your mind, then, hey, you're good. Allow yourself grace and mercy. There is nothing wrong with saying no. There is nothing wrong with making sure that you're okay. But there is something wrong when you have no regard for your own safety, your own health, your own spiritual well-being. And when you say no, you're reminding yourself it's okay. It's okay to feel. Don't allow your pride to take over and have you doing things that you really don't want to do. One of the best things that was said to me before was a woman telling me that I'm not her type. She had no obligation to me. So she wasn't hurting herself. Somebody telling me, Rory, I can't do that. I just don't feel like it. I remember when I was buying my first house, and a friend of mine, you know, I asked him for some money to help me because my pay had fell on the wrong day. It was a bunch of things. And what he said to me was, well, I've been burnt before by friends who borrowed large sums of money. And so for that, I'm telling you, no, I can't help you. And I remember being hurt emotionally because I knew I would do it for him in a heartbeat. Now that I'm older, I respect his decision because he put himself first. He had no obligation to me. And don't get me wrong, my hurt didn't last long, but I'm bringing it up because we're talking about helping people while hurting yourself. Let's say he did help me and I couldn't pay him back when I said I was. And he needed that money for something else. I would have hurt him if he did not have any boundaries. So create realistic boundaries. And when it comes to a spouse, I think sometimes that's different. Expectations, obligations, and things of that nature are not necessarily incorporated into this. Because there are some marital obligations that you can create with your spouse along with some expectations. But if you put yourself first, putting yourself first will help your family. Putting yourself first and allowing that person in all of that can be a game changer. I really want you to take the time to put yourself first. I really want you to understand that helping people while hurting yourself, let me tell you another way that I didn't even think about. But, I used to be that person that helped everybody, no matter what it cost me. But to me, there was a small, still voice that said, are you trying to be God? Because God can help everybody, not you. So when you're meeting that person that has broken problems and emotional stress and all these things, you can't fix them. And what will happen is that you'll be hurting just as much as them. And before you know it, you entered their depression, their anxiety, because you're trying to repair, fix, while hurting yourself. Allowing friends to stay at your place for free. Your bills go up, but you're just trying to help them out. Helping others while hurting yourself. You are not God. Give it away. Even if your religion is not Christianity, you are not some spiritual being that's carrying your person, in every fashion, your friend or whatever. You are you. Allow their faith to move them the way it's supposed to. You got this. So thank you, beautiful souls, for joining me today on another enlightening episode of Soulful Sessions with Rory. If this episode resonated with you, share it with someone who might benefit. As we navigate the depths of introspection and explore the boundless possibilities of the human spirit, remember that your journey is uniquely yours. And every twist and turn is a sacred part of your story. Embrace the whispers of your soul and may the echoes of our conversations linger in your heart, sparking a flame of self-discovery. Until we meet again in the realm of shared wisdom, stay true to your essence, stay connected to the rhythm of your soul, and always remember that you are a masterpiece in the making. Wishing you love, light, and infinite possibilities on your soulful journey. Until next time, this is Rory signing off with gratitude and reverence for the magic that resides within each and every one of you. Thank you.